because way too much happening. All right. Okay, so today there's several things we're going to do. One of the things that will be very important to you is this link here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the description of how I want you to do the mini unit in the school. Basically, this assignment will extend over 4 to 5 weeks. The 5th week is when you put it all together, but every week you'll be doing a piece of it. Part of what also will happen is I've linked it into chapter 4 in RINC, which is the in between the two chapters you just did in the quiz. Well, most of you, two people haven't done it yet. They've got like 10 hours. And that is really getting at how you present tasks. But the key thing about my feedback to you, and I want to see if it's sunk in, I gave some feedback about doing tasks. Can anybody tell me what's the critical things that I gave you feedback on your teaching about tasks? I can't move on until you tell me something based on my feedback. Tasks. Steve, what did I give you in your feedback? Yeah, I gave you 4 things at the end. What was the key thing I gave you in one of those 4 things? Look it up. Maria.
Mine was I sucked at figuring out the cues.
Great. So, tasks. I didn't say sucked, I would never get that feedback, but the idea of refinements, right? These are what a lot of you were really keen on teaching. These are the cues, but these only make sense if they apply to a context. So what is the context? Go, Steve.
Yeah, mine had no context. I was using the volley as like a serial skill as opposed to like a volleyball's game skill.
Yeah. And I want to say, Steve did brilliantly, really good. If I was in a club and I played volleyball and I wanted to get better at doing I would get better. But I'm committed to the game. I know what's going on. I know why I'm doing it. Right? But if I'm a kid in the school, middle school, most of my phys ed in elementary was dodgeball, and it was really bad, and I can't really catch, and the ball bounces and I stand still, a third of your class, probably. So how do you get the context of volleyball, or whatever sport you're doing, to those kids' heads? What's needed? What makes it make sense, as you read in chapter 2 from RINC? What gives them context? What are you doing 487? What do we do every single time I teach you?
Play, practice, play.
Right, we play something, right? And when we play, it's a game, right? And the game is critically designed to have a purpose. So if I'm doing any of my net war games, always it was about consistency. And then it was about recovery to the base. Then it was about impact point. So all those things were in the game, but the game brought that out. So you have to be clever now. You've got to design a game where they can play. And the play can be a co-op game, right, with a challenge. Can you get 6 in a row, 8 in a row? Or it can be a competitive game. Can you beat your opponent? But when you do a competitive game, you've got to bring some way of adapting so it gets close. So we don't have one-sided, right? And when you do the game, it has a purpose. See up there? It's a teacher purposeful game. See that? Look up there. That's the grade 6. Can you see it? Bloody good poster there. Can you see it?
Yes.
Good, right? So there's a purpose for the game. I want you to become more consistent. Got it? And then there's the aim for the game. You've got to tell the kids. The aim of this game is to get the person to get 4 points first. By keeping it in the court more often than your opponent. Right? There's your aim. Then you'll have service. This is how you start the game. This is how you score points. This is how you can manipulate the ball in the game. You can catch it, or you can do it after a bounce. Basically 3 rules. Then the kids start to play the game. Obviously you set up a structure or something that makes it all make sense, as in the court space or the mark, but every time you play, you set up a game, and you design a game with an aim and 3 rules. And when I look at your lesson plans, I expect to see that. If I see you writing a paragraph explaining the game, that's dull, boring, and they haven't listened. You've got to make the game 30 seconds clear. 2 people showing, you play it, they've got it, 1 minute, they're off playing. Not 5 minutes explaining, and then re-explaining, and then re-explaining, and the kids are like, right? Because that's what they're going to be like. Efficiency, but well planned. This design game is what you're going to learn to do really well. If you look through all my plans in 487, some of you in there, every single plan, I had that. I've done it on purpose, so you see me emphasizing. Aim and 3 rules. Good? Once you got that going, some type of game, we've got playing, manipulate the object, then we got tasks. Remember the first task. Okay, what can help you get better at keeping the ball in the court? An informing task. Show me how you on your own can do what Steve was doing with the ball, right? So then you have some type of informing tasks that focus the students on what they're doing. And as they do that task, and you get it 6 times in a row, you refine. And the refine are these cues. And if they can't do it very well, you have some type of way of simplifying it, right? And if you can simplify it, okay, try it with this ball. Oh, you're allowed to bounce in between, right? Do it higher so you've got more time. And if they can do that and they're really good, you extend it. Okay, now try it with a partner, we'll go against the wall. And then all of that starts to go back to the game, and the game is this game, but a little bit more advanced. That's your cycle every single time. And you can do probably 2 or 3 of those in a lesson if you plan it well. And at the end, all of this will go to a great culminating game, which is basically the game you've just done, but now you're going to make sure they rotate people. So a kid will play one kid, and then, based on the score, play another kid. So in 5 or 10 minutes, they've played 3 other kids in the class, or 2 other pairs, just like I do in 487. This, for middle school, is golden. They love being able to mix in a productive way. Right? That makes it all come alive for them. But to do that, you need some type of team or something structured in your lesson. Is that good? Is that good? Brooke, that make sense? I mean, you all got a skill. This is where it's the bread and butter, right? And you can change kids from hating a sport in lesson 1 of the class you're going to do and loving it by the 4th one. Questions? Any other feedback? I'm on a roll here. Come on, what else? I really, really tried hard on my feedback to be, critically constructive. What else? What else? Can somebody tell me what I said about teaching styles? Great that you attempted. Yes, Adam.
To actually explain how you use them?
Bloody plan them, yes. Right? Great example. Macy's is starting this next round. She's showing you how to use reciprocal and divergent. Probably 2 of the most powerful ones in your stage of your careers to be able to do. And if you do those well, things happen. Right? Reciprocal in particular helps them start to give constructive feedback to have each other. Divergent in that they start to take ownership for the actual playing the game or doing something or figuring it out. Right? Those 2 styles are very powerful, and they're built on, like Steve said, they're built on the practice style, and they move from the practice style to start developing independence in a constructive way. And they move from the guided discovery, which is the teacher guiding everything, to actually figuring it out, problem solving, real application of open skill sports. So those are very much need to be planned. And when you make them happen, big things happen to CAPS. Because as soon as you make those things happen, those team styles, this starts to take off. Because you're less reliant on you. Right? And you might have to help some kids who can't give feedback. Guess what? That's called learning. They can't give feedback. And then you help them give feedback, and then they can give feedback. Guess what? Right? And if the kid gives feedback to a kid who's really good, and they're not so good, and the kid gets better, oh, right? When they try and do it, they have a very different attitude. When the kid who's better gives them feedback, and they get better, they don't dislike the sport, and they like the kid. Right? And so there's a different relationship around the sport. It's not about who's the best, it's about how we help each other get better. Very indigenous, but you have to sort of breed that in because our culture doesn't breed that in. Well, what we do is we ask kids to come after school for a club, and then we get rid of some of the kids that have our team, and those kids that we get rid of, I guarantee they won't play that sport for the rest of their life. It's a very effective strategy of eliminating kids. I'm saying that because my daughter went to basketball, turned up at 7 a.m. She was a 13-year-old in the basketball from 45 kids at 7 a.m. Imagine 13-year-old girls turning up at 7 a.m. to do basketball. 45 turned up, and then the teacher cut it down to 25. My daughter's still there. Went out in the old playground, we practiced a bit. She went in, they cut it down from 25 down to 10, but my daughter was the 11th, could do the scoring. She never played basketball again. Awesome PE teaching. Loved it. Wasn't allowed to go to parent-teacher interview because my wife said you can't go in and do what you're going to do, so I couldn't.
Thank God she spared the teacher from you.
And it's worked. I bought a brand new basketball. It's in my storeroom now. No one's ever used it. So you have to figure out how you, as a teacher, don't go down that colonizing route. Okay? Good? I better too much around here. So good? Good. D-star. What else? What else in my feedback? This is, by the way, you all did really good, and this is ideal, and it's perfect moving into this practice, but I want to emphasize the things that are going to help you out there.
In my feedback, you mentioned a culminating activity,
So always have something that you have in mind, and what you'll find today is I get you thinking about what are your culminating activities for each of the lessons, of which you could have the same one, but it gets more advanced. But what is that culminating? And then what is that fourth lesson culminating thing they can do that they couldn't have done in the first lesson? The type of game you want them to play and the way you want to play it. So culminating is always putting it all together. Good? The other one was feedback. It's hard with your peers. Appreciate it. But I just want to emphasize what's the gold standard of great feedback? What are the combination of things on a feedback that makes it really good?
Suggestion.
Good suggestions are based on cues.
Neutral.
Yeah, try not to be, oh, that shit, try this. You know, that sucks, Mary, really, you got it right. You don't put it in a negative, you've got to try and make it in a constructive way, right? But the other thing that you want with it is positive, right? But you also put a name on it. So Steve, I really liked how you looked it up over there in your computer. Right? Looked it up on his computer, what his cue I was after, and the way he did it, and I put his name on it. And plus, I'm on this side of the gym, and Steve's over there. Why is that so important? Is Steve thinks I'm everywhere now. Right? So I don't just give feedback, oh, I don't check it, because over here, Steve's like fighting around over there. But if I actually say something to Steve over here, and then I'm checking, Steve's got, oh, teacher sees me, right? So you've got to get in a habit of using feedback. It's not just as a reinforce, it manages. Because kids at this age love being noticed. Right? The more you notice them, the better behavior. As a lot of you said, the TOCs that were covering the class were struggling with negative behavior because those kids are desperate for someone to pay attention to them. It's up to you which way you take it. The earlier you can go the positive route, the more they'll carry on. You know? Get them, oh yeah, Jacob, you don't get the equipment. Thanks, Jacob. Oh, right, give them jobs. Don't you go running around doing the equipment. Get them doing the equipment. Set up one court. Okay, listen, you've got to set the court. First court finish, can play. You've got to put all those into your planning. So when you're doing the management tasks, it's not just this is all movement tasks I've just done here, right? These are all about movement. Brilliant. But then the other side of it is you've got to figure out your management tasks. And as you read in chapter 4 from Rink, the problem you will have is you combine these two things. Don't. Management tasks, movement tasks. Set up the environment tasks. Okay, now come and sit down here. I'm going to show you how to use this environment we just created. Movement task. Off they go into the environment. Don't put the two things together because they can't retain. So good? Wow, that was a good experience. Ready to go? All right, now the other one, which I know you're going to struggle with, and that's fine, and this is why we do all this out in schools, because you have to have 25 or 20 kids. And I've added it here, two little attachments. This one is probably going to help you the most in your first teaching experience. When you go to teach, you set up a task, you scan. What I tend to see when I go in is Brooke will set up a task, and then she'll go and help Andre. Meanwhile, Jacob and Alison are fighting over balls on the other side of here, and Ethan and his partner are playing in a dangerous way, but you get stuck over here. So you don't, right? You give a task and you scan. Is it safe? Stop! Correct it. Get it safe. Good. Spacing. Good. Response on, yes, they're on task. Good. No, ooh, but Ethan's doing it really well with Jada. I'll just show those two, right? Because they're doing it right, right? Then I go back to scan. Is it ready? Do I need to move them on? Do I need to clarify? Do I need to provide feedback? And as I'm going, I keep scanning and I'm moving. What am I doing? I'm moving. I'm never in one spot. Right? I'm always on the move. In fact, my steps are like 22,000 when I teach. I never stop moving. I'm not even aware of the fact I'm moving so much. And then you look at that, and then you respond, you focus, you respond, you focus. You keep trying to adjust as you're watching. Right? So go through that cycle. And then you know what to do next. You've got a lesson plan, but the kids may not follow your plan. But your lesson plan prepares you to teach them. Right? So that reading and responding is critical. And the last thing with that one is learn their names as quickly as possible. In fact, even in your first class, do a name game of some type in your warm-up or cooperative thing, just to get to know their names. Because once you do that, then the management gets easy. Is that good? That was my plan. Make sense?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Next part of my plan. Whew. Okay, modify game. We've got that. Aim, yes, got that. Good. Folder. All right. Here's where it gets really exciting. So if you log on to our folios. Oh yeah, before we go ahead, two things. Stephen, you've got to score points for people. They're going to get desperate. They're not passing the class.
Yeah, I have a question for you after the class.
I can't access the point thing.
Okay, just go ahead. Go edit.
Oh my gosh. I'm kidding. Can't do it right now.
Does that solve the problem?
Yeah.
Steve, does that solve the problem?
Okay.
And then you put a number in. If you just email me, just hit edit. And then you can edit. Good? Right, so score them, because there's lots coming in, but you've got to do it. And Brooke, you gotta do it every 2 weeks. Brooke, you see the question mark next to your name?
Yeah, I did both of them.
Get that person to score you, because I don't know. They haven't come out yet, right? And then we can change that, and they can change that from the first week. Got it? Very important, because this will carry on during, we only meet once a week. This becomes very important, because it actually starts to capture your experience in the school. As you do the readings, it becomes very powerful entries that I find are most helpful for me, but also for you, reading about each other's experience in the school, trying to do the stuff you're reading about. Good? All right. The other part is, click on this. It should open up for you if you logged into your Google account. Giving each of you a colour.
I didn't see it.
How come you can't see it? What?
I was just looking at my computer when you showed it.
Let's go up a bit of it. Go up a little bit. There we go. Little white one.
Okay.
You're in this. It's good. It's good. Now, each of you have a folder. All your planning goes inside this folder. The reason being, I learned this 5 years ago, some people don't work as hard as other people. And when you're all working in a supportive manner, it's not about the quantity you write, it's the fact you engage in every single piece of the documents in there. At the end of this 4 weeks, as long as you are in the history of each document, as in you've engaged with it, you can use it in your digital portfolio. But it's evidence that you've actually coped and created it. If you don't have your name in the history of that thing, then obviously you can't use that document because you didn't do anything. Right? So, aerial planning goes here. You can do it outside and copy and paste it in, but basically I've set up for everybody the same structure. So when you go inside here, you'll open up, you'll see these elements of the unit plan. So one will be the framework, content analysis, and culminating event. These are going to evolve over time. You can start today thinking about what would be the culminating event, and then what you're going to do in the first class. And the culminating event will change as you work with the kids. You've got an idea, but then you'll start to shape it when you see the kids do the first class. But you need an idea in mind. What's going to be fun in the fourth lesson that you can start selling to the kids? An idea, right? A concept. Then there's planning materials. There's game, task progression, and your lesson plans. Then there's a student assessment form. In your group now, in groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, you're going to put your name next to one of those numbers. And you're in a pair, you're going to have one of you's going to be number 1, one of you number 2, and both of you are going to be 3. Do that now. Go in and put your name in your group. Which folder are you responsible for? You're each going to lead a lesson, and there's going to be one lesson where you're going to co-create. If there's 2 of you, then there's going to be 2 lessons where you're deciding how you co-create it. But each of you will lead a lesson, be the dominant teacher, and will do the lesson planning for that lesson, drawing on the resources of the group. So that's inside your planning folder.
So you want us being
one of us are
lesson.
doing this one,
Yeah, change the name, so number 1 is Jacob, number 2 is Wes.
and then we don't have to make copies of these, or
No, no, just put your name on there.
Yeah.
You're only in the folder.
So you're talking about the lesson you want us on, not
No, this is coming next. I just want to ask you to go back up. So number 1, Jade, number 2, Ethan, number 3,
but
David,
number
right?
two is the lesson plan.
that's next.
So is someone in charge of all the lessons?
No, they're overviewing it, yes. But there's somebody in charge of that folder.
Like edit
so,
and
haven't done your
one,
names.
Not, we're not doing lesson plan yet, go back. Oh, okay. See, I combined 2 things there, a management task and a movement task combined, and guess what happened? I confused everybody. So here, so in Steve's group, for example, Steve might be number 1, Andre might be number 2, and Brooke might be number 3. That person is responsible for making sure that folder gets developed. Okay? You're not going to be involved in all 3, but you have special responsibility for that 1 to make sure. So if I go into that folder and there's nothing in number 3, I'm going to email Brooke. Brooke, what's going on here? Why is there no happening here? Right? So that's where the responsibility. Got it?
They're both of us. We both do.
Good? Good?
Yep.
Okay. Now, my next step, lesson plans. Here you have 4 lessons. So you can either co-teach the first one together, if you want to, and then go 2, 3, 4, and you divide it up. Or the first lesson, one of you is going to lead. When there's a group of 3, one person leads, the other person assists, the third talks to the teacher, and only assists if desperate. They're more observing, making sure they're seeing it, but they're getting the view from the teacher. We are going to give you so much information that you're going to process back in, right? On the assessment side of it, on the planning side of it, on the routines and procedures, all those things. The kid, oh yeah, that kid has problems, blah, 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 blah. He's actually behaving really well today compared to how he normally behaves. It's all that type of conversation you want with that teacher. If there's a pair of you, one of you leads, the other assists, but the one that assists, whenever they can, will chat with the teacher, right? But you're basically going to work it, but somebody's going to converse with the teacher. I might be there as well talking with the teacher, right? So you use them, so it's not, they're not assessing and judging you, they're working with you, helping you get better, but they're really enjoying you engaging in their class, right? Good? This document here, I've shaped it up based on all your observations. None of you quite got the gym, but I made it for you really good. This is what it looks like when you do it outside, even in the rain with the tape. That was for those teaching outside. Here's what the space at Arbutus looks like, combining it, outdoor space, all the diagrams. So basically, all these I combined to say, okay, what does his equipment for you to look at? This, one of you found that. Here's the gym, my best drawing of the gym. Right, this is a drawing now. This one, you could actually move it around and edit it if you wanted to make it how you think it should be. But what I've done here is made a fixed one. So basically this one, this don't move, but these do move, right? I can put these around anywhere in the gym. This becomes your visualization of your plan for your 20 plus kids in that gym space. When you're doing inventing games, for instance, where am I going to put all the different games? I put them in pairs or in 3s. So you can start to use the space. The lovely thing about this is once you create one, you just say duplicate. And then in the stage of your lesson, you just move it slightly. Duplicate. So I can just keep planning those 25 kids, and I don't have to do much. I just move it around and adjust how it then looks, right? So I can make 5 slides that show the progression of my lesson visually, very quickly, way better than writing it by hand. Is that good? So this is a fixed one. Tell me, how did I make this background fixed? Did anybody watch my video? Cass?
Did you highlight it all and then right-click group?
No, but I could do it that way. The best way of doing it, that is one way, but an even better way of doing it is if you look at the slide, you can change the background. So basically, once I've made a diagram, like this one, I can export it as an image, right? So JPEG or PNG, right? And then I can import it as the background. So I just go in here, change the background, choose an image, and then I just upload it from my computer, boom. It becomes fixed, and now you can move all the characters around. Is that clever? Took me a few years. It's actually, I did 2 years of teaching in Singapore. This is the thing I invented with the teachers there, and they all use it as a way of planning. Because it actually helps them do this stuff really well, because now they can plan, because classes tend to be big in Singapore, but this is what they tend to start to use. Good, 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 good. Outdoors, we can do the same, right? And I've actually given you some nice visual spaces here that you can play with. You can draw, you can move it around, right? And then down here, these are all free moving ones. So you want to make a single one, right? So you can adjust it. You want to make a tennis court look outside. Whatever you want to use, they're all here. So you use this to draw your visuals for your lesson and create like a sequence of visuals that help you see what's going to be going on in that gym space. Good? So the person in charge of this folder is in charge of making sure that works for the classes. Now I don't mind, if you want to, you can plan and export an image. So I can plan this one, export it, and put it into my lesson plan. Or I can just hyperlink to a Google slide I've made for lesson 1. And the Google slide I've made for lesson 2. The way I'm teaching right now is I tend to have a Word document, and then I have a Google slide document, and I just use the 2 things. When I teach my lesson, I tend to just look at the Google slide document, because I can then visualize the progression of my management of the space to cause the learning. And I only go to my lesson plan when I can't remember the cues, or the wording of the question. But the 2 work really well. That's how I'm teaching right now. I'm allowing you to decide that based on the tools I've given. You can adapt them as long as you are paying attention to a task progression before you do it. That tells me the outline of the thing you're going to do, and then you've got a lesson plan that builds that task progression with teaching styles and all the elements of CAPS, how many kids they are, interactivity, EDIG, focus, right? So basically, combining those 3 things, you come up with a really good lesson plan. And a really good lesson plan that when you do an interview with a principal at the end of this class, they go, wow, you're a good planner. TOC could come in and teach this lesson. That's normally what they say, because they've never seen such good planning from students. This is why. Good? Helpful? And I put samples in, so if you look around, there should be a sample you can see of previous people's planning. Somewhere I put, there's a sample. Right, so here's here's a volleyball one. You can see this is one that was done at Central School. And so you can see they're planning as a unit, using badminton courts, same type of things with a visual, and then you can see their lesson visuals that they started to develop, right, that they built up over time. So that gives you an idea of how you could do that, and then those actually appeared inside their lesson plan structure. Good? Hopefully it will help. What I want you to do is enjoy planning. Don't do it as I'm passing this. Use it to help you teach well. These tools will help you do it better. I still use them as an experienced teacher. It's not like I've stopped lesson planning, because I have to think of the visual space. That's when I drew your gym arbutus. I went in and saw the blue is spaces I could put balls against. There's doors here. I don't know why they put the bleachers there. Darn it. All that lovely wall space was taken away. Oh, if I was a PE teacher, I would have fought against that. But there's still spaces around the outside. Okay? Good? Then, student assessment. The key one here, this will really help you. It will take, it's difficult at the beginning, but as you start to shape up the psychomotor, the communication skills, based on the BC curriculum, as you start getting good at that, you'll have the kid's name here, and you're going to start writing comments about the kid in relation to those domains that you observe. What I tend to do is identify 3 or 4 kids each class and try and write something about them. If there's 3 of you, you can cover half the class each time. Just write little comments about those kids. What's their progress? What students have started to do is color code. So first lesson I did in blue, second lesson I did in red, right? As they put in color, and you can see the kids' progress over time. Plus you start to get to know every single kid. Obviously the person teaching might find that more difficult than 2 observing and helping, but you work as a team to build a profile on each kid in those 4 domains. And that will correspond to what your lesson plan outcomes are. As you start to develop a unit plan, this becomes what the whole 4 lessons achieve. I'm not expecting you to write it now, you'll just do it over time. Psychomotor means the physical skills, right? Cognitive means understanding tactical, what they're doing, problem solving, synthesizing. Affective means taking responsibility, taking a role in a team, giving peer feedback, social, doing it in a positive way. All those types of things will start to appear here as you start doing the lesson plan. It's an overview of the 4 lessons. Okay? And I'm on to my last one here. Unit 1, this one is the one that normally will give you the most difficulty, but as you do it, it will make sense. Content is, what is the content I'm going to be teaching? So what is the thing? So those who do 487, what's the content in that class? That games class, what is the content?
Fundamentals of
Yes!
pickleball and that.
Right? So those charts that I create, they're basically my content analysis, right? That is the content I'm teaching. And then the tactical concepts that go around that. So as you start getting good at it, you'll see I've put in, let's see, where am I going to show that? Content analysis, I put it somewhere to show you, where did I put it? Additional resources, yes! So I put a couple examples here. Now, those who take in the class with me, you can adapt any of the stuff you've got in my class, but you're going to create like your similar checklist. So here's one, that's for tennis. This is actually adapted from Tennis Canada, right? These are the phases of a skill that we're looking at, and then these are the cues that go in based on different categories. And so that is my skill content, and then my tactical content is based on the idea of space, force, time, and risk, and how I get kids to manipulate those in the game as they're starting to learn how to use those cues to do the skill. You need something, or you're adapting one of mine that you're using in the teaching. I don't mind you adapting. This is Tennis Canada that I adapted. Right? I took theirs and I made it better. And then I wrote several articles about it. But that is actually what I want you to get at to identify what is it I'm teaching. Okay? So we're going to take a little break now from me talking, because I've got them wrong. I want you now, with your group, establish what could be that 4th lesson activity, just a rough idea. Then what are we going to do in the first lesson, and what will be that culminating day in that first lesson? So just talk with your peers now, and come up with that little idea. So have a chat, think about it. Yep. Oh yeah. At least for you.
So,
So we'll get to Google Slide, and that template I shared with you is in there. You can adapt. I shared with both of you in the feedback. I gave you, sent you resources.
where is that?
I don't know. I sent it to you. So whenever I want to give you feedback,
On the observation report?
I sent you a set of resources.
Like, different from this one?
Yeah. So when you first said what you're doing in any games, I sent both of you things that have done in the past. Students have done it, and their portfolios, right? So you can draw on it. Yes. I think so, but I haven't done it yet. So yes, that's what we need to go in, because we can take the tape and just tie it, and because they don't want to put their nets up, and that's fine. We can just make it with a hazard tape, right? I mean, ideally, you can get the bouncing things out, but you can just do it across here as well. But obviously, you get more courts going that way. How many kids you got?
there's 22 total, but 22 don't show up.
Well, then you have 3 bouncing balls, it's going to be fine. Right? Because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 courts. Right? Just by using the space in between. So that would take care of 16. Can you see that, Jacob?
Sorry, you were dividing them out.
So I'm doing, this is a court,
Yeah.
this is a court, this is a court. So you've got 1 court here, 2 courts,
Yeah.
3 courts, 4 courts, 5 courts, 6 courts, 7, 8 courts. Right? So that's 16.
Yeah.
Now, if there's 22, you could do rotation, 3s on each. Not ideal, but that still works. But if you can put this around here, right, then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 courts easy, and they're quite wide, right? So you can even play around with making those okay? Yeah? That's exactly how I look at the space. But if you go this way, if we can make 1 net this way, we can make a...
I think she mentioned something about putting one extra one just along the side of the picture.
Yeah, because if we have 16 here, then we can get 1, 2, 3 other courts, small courts here. I mean, all you need is something you can tie something, right? Yeah. It's high enough. So anything that stands up, go in the equipment room and just tie tape across it. You can make 2, 3 courts. Then you could probably make 11 courts that way. Then you covered all 20, but they're not all to be there, so you may not ever use it once or twice. Right? But we need to see what we can tie, like, this to my mind is a net. Right?
Right.
And if it's tied to that, I can stick it on a wall, it's a net.
Yeah.
So I need 1 of those and some duct tape with header tape, and you've got a net. Yeah? That works?
Yeah.
Also, do we have the koosh balls?
Yeah, there's somewhere in my bag at home, but I'll bring it. They're in my bag at home. When you're teaching on Monday?
No, we're teaching.
Oh no, you got to wake up. Yeah, you got delayed, right? That's okay. Yeah, I've got the koosh balls, yeah. But they're good for throat catch, and they're good to catch on the badminton, because some of them will struggle with the speed, and you want to get them used to doing that rather than, right? Yeah, I found if you do the koosh balls with a throat grip, that gets them doing the movement, right? Just like a step up from catching, and then you go the full, but now with the birdie, then you always get the movement. The movement's what you've got to get going first, because they won't move. A lot of them. Once you get a movement, then everything else starts to move. Okay, ask about the Judo 487 as well, so you can use any of that badminton stuff. Where's it got that? Hazard tape. You want hazard tape as well. Maria, hazard tape. You can order it from here, they've got it in the bag there. That's good. Whoever responds to you. I put number on your forum post? Oh no, forum post is the person who runs the thread has to do it. Steve, as you know. I did that once for you, didn't I? Did I score the wrong person?
We set the expectations.
Oh, maybe I. Yeah, I thought, because you're Jade. Yeah. Did I put down the wrong person to do? Here's you. There's you. That's me. I did that.
What? Where?
They good? And then this is good. Ethan, you got a 3. Wow.
Video in there.
Holy moly. Ethan got a 3.
Good job already. 400 words.
450 words,
Oh,
actually.
shit, sorry.
I'll take my time with that.
Yeah.
You good?
I am best friend.
Okay, so Brooke, can you see me after? Are we going to just connect up? And in the chat, you get those dates sorted out as well when you're not here. Yes, Steve?
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Over there.
Where?
So let's say that takes,
You're scoring, right?
so it takes
What's like
10 to 15 minutes.
yeah, this is like actually stuff you're maybe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
roughly go through. Okay. Okay. And,
No, like, I'm not, I don't know that.
So that then means
but
that
then we
meeting
choose.
requires to finish when we get to 7. They've all passed. I think that's just 6.
We could do like.
This is an extension.
less
This is an
than
extension.
two.
So here, another one here.
Do the different types of shot.
Right? All that is you being a teacher, giving feedback just by the numbers, saying, oh yeah, that was good pass, or that was pass and you made a real good connection with literature there, or you did something exceptional by you put in a video, you did something embedded, you made something, right? So you make a decision, make it 1, 2, or 3. But either 1, 2, or 3 they pass, that's all you need to do to get the B plus in the class. But you're
We
responsible for
want to
that
focus
aspect
on
of it.
basic expectations, like
For one more day. No, listen to that. Do it again. Can you put it again? Oh.
This is the ON that we
Oh.
are teaching guests, but we.
I've actually done it twice. Like, I missed the email? Okay.
Okay.
Good. Right? So, there's maybe a Thursday? So I'll record it, right? Because every Thursday I do like 10, 15, something. No. Because you're teaching, right? So one class is teaching. Could be Monday, could be Wednesday, could be Friday, could be night. And then Thursday we always meet up. I've usually seen a few of the classes. We did Capri, I added a little bit in. Based on your planning, you ask me questions around planning, because there's other things that I haven't even thought about yet, which helps you start blending into the PC curriculum and things like that. And then we talk about assessment at the end, how you can do like a student assessment with the students. So you can do something that gets them thinking about their learning. So you're right. Yeah, I'll record it. Good. But we'll meet after class. So you got a class after this? Right, so we need to be catching up now. You're going to be on the forum. So what you need to do is get on to the next forum right now. Right? Get it stuff, don't leave it. Because I'll give you one chance. If you keep this forum, you'll just make it a video. Because you have to be in a conversation with everybody else in those 2 week periods. We'll start it. But Macy's already posted that ahead of time. Right, everybody else is now just wrapping up, responding, and then it will be next. Okay? And you remember when you're not doing it? Okay, that was what I wanted to talk about, because especially when you're late, I just didn't want you to get work.
I feel like that's
Good. All right. Any other questions? Are we good? Do you feel okay, everybody? Yeah. Equipment, make sure you get in early. If you have problems, contact me. I'll try to assist if there's something not there, right? But now you should start structuring it. It'll start to work. And I will try to come in on the Mondays when you're teaching. I'll just pop in at school, right?
Do we not have class on Monday?
No class on Monday.
For 4 weeks.
For 4 weeks. So I see you and respond to your stuff. That's my Monday. And my Thursday is we meet and we plan together in here.
For the next week. So every Thursday we have our class for the next week.
We come in here, plan together, and we add, I usually do something related to what I see, but also adding on, right? Because we're building a new plan.
So Monday, nothing, Thursday, nothing,
Okay, everybody attention, one more time, listen up. Shh. Management task. Monday, you're either teaching, planning for your lesson, but you're not here. Thursday, you're here early on time, there will be an acknowledgement by all your peers. We'll do an aspect of the unit plan, I'll keep building into it, or based on what I've seen in the schools as feedback. Then you'll plan with your peers, ask me questions, get iPad stuff, whatever resources. And then next week again, no Monday, but 30 come in. Everybody got that?
Yeah.
Good. And well done, everybody. My first month is intense, you can see why, but it has set you up for this. Because I had to make it so that a month is possible, because you can actually do something reasonably good in a month and learn from it rather than one-off lessons. That's why we've done what we've done that first month. So actually from now on, this is here, and then, unless you're an extension, it will start to get easier as we in the term. Right, have a good weekend.
So, I just, I forgot about this, but,
We're doing the acknowledgement together on Thursday. I know, I found it. You guys like yesterday, I was like,
So next Thursday.
yeah, you're doing next Thursday, so I don't think we have to do as great of a job as they did. So we can just like, do the same thing where I was trying to talk about, here and then where I'm from,
Take the game for the
maybe
gist.
something
Outside this actually
about something from where I'm from and the first music or something, and then do the same. I don't think you need to like, I'm not talking about just be ourselves, if that's cool with you. Okay, sounds good. I think, I'll just get your phone number just so we can like.